Greetings everyone. In this video I'll be running some Forbidden Lands survival / hexcrawl / combat, and we'll get to that here in a minute. I've got 4 characters that I'll be using this particular session. It is a continuation of my long-standing, long-running traditional role-playing game when I play with my son and my friend. Either way, the party was heading towards the Hollows, which in my world is located right here, and they made it there off screen, I guess I should say it that way. The last time I recorded a video, we were hiding from Iron Guard and Rust Brothers, and so they ended up making it all the way from Ember Shrine to the Hollows, which is here on my worksheet map. And they recuperated, spent a little bit of time in the town gathering their resources that they needed, and they have decided to split up into 2 groups and determine a couple of things that's going on in the world, just to keep the story moving forward, I suppose. Group 1 has traveled all the way to Farhaven, which is mentioned in the books in different places, and it's not really fleshed out. However, I am in the process of working on that, and in my world, I've got Farhaven way out east, way over here on the east coast in the Backwater Bay region. And so that's where Group 1 has gone. They traveled there via the portal spell, and I may cover that in another video in the future, but don't hold me to that. This group, however, has stayed in the Hollows. Group 2, so to speak, has stayed in the Hollows area, and they were going to pay attention to different things that were happening in the central and southern portions of Ravenland. And so I thought it was fun to split them up, because 8 is too many to run in a solo campaign, and 4 is pushing it. So either way, that's all right. 2 of these characters belong to, well, one belongs to my friend and one belongs to my son. The other 2 characters that make up this group of 4 are Bodlo and Ushkalla. Those are my characters. And then Radeka, who is a new PC, and Jarren, who was recently freed from captivity. So they have decided to stay in the Hollows region and explore the area, find loot, raid ruins, and see what they can determine is taking place. Is Zytera's forces and his military and the Rust Brothers and the Iron Guard, are they continuing through the winter? Which winters in this land are harsh and difficult. It makes travel much more difficult and much more of an obstacle to overcome. So they are going to stay in this region and pay attention to what's going on there. And also see if they can gather some more resources or loot or treasure, because we are running low on funds, and that's something that adventurers in the Ravenlands, in the Forbidden Lands, like to do. So that's what we're going to do on this one. And on the big map here, right there is where the Hollows is. We were going to travel some south along this river, along just the banks of the river, and discover some hexes that we haven't been in on my worksheet, and do some random traveling, random encounters. I have a combat scenario that may come up as we get towards the southern end, and we'll get to that shortly. But I think journeying is fun in Ravenland, in the Forbidden Lands game. So, and I don't know how well you can see this, but I have them highlighted or outlined in black ink here. I should have picked another color. I saw another guy doing it, and he has bright blue, and it makes it much easier to see. And so I started this way. I may go back and correct some of this, but I'll leave it as is for now. But our characters are going to travel straight south and see what we can find. And on the map, there are a couple of locations that we haven't discovered yet nearby, and maybe they'll come back in a serpentine. But the Fang Woods is a dangerous area. Wolfkin call this place home, and so wolves and wolfkin will be what our characters eventually encounter here shortly. So let's see about the date and the time that it takes to travel. Now, if you remember, this is the first day of winter rise. That's when I'm having our characters leave the Hollows and head this direction. They have resupplied, so all their equipment is caught up, and I have character sheets for everyone here except for Radeka, which I have a PDF in a shared file that my friend sent me, and so I'm keeping up with it in that way as best I can on sticky notes. And I'll get him the info later. Either way, so in the winter time, there's only one part of the day, 1/4 day, that is light, and that is the day. So morning, day, evening, night. Morning is dark, evening and night are dark, and so there's only a small sliver of the day where you can travel, and and unless you're going to travel it in the dark, which makes it much more difficult. And our characters will not do that. We will travel definitely during the day. And so the morning of the 1st of Winterrise, we are in the Hollows, which is still dark. And then when the day comes, we strike out and head south. So let's open up our books to Journey. That's what we're going to do now. I'll leave my Game Master Guide there. We'll get to the journeys and pick our lead the way individual. Who's going to be the one leading the way? Radeka is very proficient in this. She is probably one of our best survival, best lead the way scouting individual. So we're heading into hexes we have not been in. So here we go. I'm on the lead the way portion, and I'm going to bring out my worksheet here. I keep this set, so lead the way is here, and I write down which characters, what they have, and I haven't written down Radeka yet, and I should do that, but I believe I have her here. Yep, so she's in scouting, which is different than survival. Radeka up here, make camp, so she has 1 in survival, and she has 5 wits. So her lead the way would be the same as make camp. So we're going to have, so our characters that we have available are Radeka, Ushkalla, Bodlo, and Jarren. All right, and I think Jarren is going to, let's see, Jarren is going to keep watch. Nope, Jarren's going to lead the way. Radeka is going to keep watch. That way we've got some other folks. So let's look at Jarren's lead the way. So keep watch. Radeka will be 5 and 1. That's nice. And then Jarren is 3 and 2. So lead the way. 3 wits, 2 survival. And so let's go ahead and do that. And it is every time you enter a new hex. So he's leading the way a handful of times here. And I'm going to keep the book off to the side. And Jarren and his lead the way rolls. So we've got 3 wits. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 attribute dice. And 2 skill dice. Now he does not have any way that someone can help him. In the rules as written, you can't do that. So morning, we are heading south and east to this one right here. So I'm just going to roll 1 in a circle. And here we go. Here's my lead the way roll. And not looking good so far. So we've got 1 failure. The rest, I'm gonna push it. So I'm gonna see if we can do it here. And we did not succeed. Okay, so we've got 1 failure, and since he pushed it, that gives him a willpower point. Jarren. There he is. And he also took 1 damage to wits. Okay. So we've led the way, and we're right off the bat not doing so well. So the way the weather is going to look in this particular area, it's the beginning of winter. Winterrise 1. And so I've got light snow. It's very cold temperatures. And that's what we're having to deal with. So let's see. Before I even check on the random encounter table, which I do that kind of a homebrew rule with the D8, what portion of the day, and then roll on the do you have an encounter table. We're going to get to that in a second, but we're barely even getting out of the hollows here. So let's go black first to see what the lead the way mishap is. 54. Okay, we've got a wasp nest. You step right into a nest of wasps. An angry swarm attack the entire group. Each adventurer must make a move roll or suffer an attack with 4 base dice, causing damage to agility. Okay, this is kind of interesting, happening in a snowy part of the year. Very cold part of the year. So let's say, what could an equivalent of a wasp's nest be like in the winter? We'll say, I don't know, some weird... Maybe these wasps are hidden off. They got down in like a hole or something, or just recently a branch has busted down. Does that even make sense? Which would then, there's a wasp nest up on that branch, and it caused them all to come alive out of their cold slumber. I mean, do wasps show up when it's snowy outside? I don't know. It seems kind of unlikely. But either way, we'll just roll with it as it is. So it calls for each adventurer must make a move roll or suffer an attack with 4 base dice. Okay, so we'll just put our 4 base dice up top here, just so we know what we're dealing with. And let's just go down the line. I've got Radeka. Her stuff is on a PDF that my buddy sent. So let's look at, we're looking at move rolls. So he's got agility 2 and move 1. So she has this right here. So she's got to succeed on this or these wasps attack. And I've got a 6, and so she succeeded. Well done. Jarren, let's look at him. Now I've got character sheets. So let's go here. Jarren, how are we finding wasp nest, beginning of winter. Okay, so he's got agility 3 and move of 0. So here we go. So he's got 3 attribute dice. Here they come. And I roll. Oh my goodness. Look at that. 3 1s. I can't push it because I can't touch him. It's frozen. It's locked. So he fails, and I don't even have an opportunity to push. That's a horrible roll. So he fails. So I'm not going to push, which does not give me any willpower or break me or damage to agility, but it was a 4 base attack. So here comes the attack on him. And look at that. He takes 2 damage to agility is what it says. So Jarren, it kind of fits that he's the one taking damage because he's the one that failed this bad boy. Okay, so he gets bit all over. That's frustrating. Okay, so Jarren's down some agility pretty quick. Let's look at Ushkalla. Here she is. She's got 4 agility and no move. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. And she's got a success. And no need to push because all it requires is a success. So well done, Ushkalla. And then Bodlo, my very strong dwarf. He's got 6 strength. That is fantastic. So 3 agility and 1 move. So here we go. So that'll be 3 attribute dice and 1 skill dice. So here we go. Need a success. None. So let's push it. There's no 1s or 6s, so nothing freezes. Here we go. And got it. We got 2 successes, and this one is not a bane, so it doesn't give us a willpower or hurt us in any way. So he succeeds. So the only person that took damage was Jarren. Okay. And so that's that first hex. So we've gone here, stumbled into a hibernating wasp nest that maybe it was on a branch, and as Jarren was using it to check the area out, it allowed us to break it, and it allowed us to be attacked by that. So that's how we'll say it happened. And we will continue south here. Now before I continue, I'm going to do my house rule. Does the random encounter kick in before we continue south? And so the way I do this, I explained it in the last video, but I roll a d8, and the 1, 2 counts for the morning, 3, 4 is the day, 5, 6 is evening, and 7, 8 is nighttime. And whatever one I roll, 7. So that means at nighttime, there will be a potential for a random encounter, and I will roll on that random encounter table when we get to the nighttime. All right? So that's how I do it. So I got to remember that, and I'm going to make a note. This is how my night random encounter. That's the sticky notes are what makes the world go round. Okay, so let's look here. We traveled here, and I did not do a survival to get across that river now that I'm looking at that on the big map here. So who would that be? That could be anyone. So Radeka, however, is keeping watch. So we will not let her do it because she's already spoken for, right? So who would the survival person be to get us across? Maybe we could let... I suppose it could be Jarren. He's leading the way, but that makes sense. So let's see if we can cross the river. You have to be able to find a place to cross the river. Now, let me check. Does he have any damage to wits already? He did on his lead the way. So technically, I have to pull one of these off. So let's go, Jarren. How about some good rolls? There we go. Okay, we've got a success there. We're able to find a way across that river, no problems. All right, so now we're back on schedule. Our characters lead into this first one, have some trouble right out of the gate as they head south and east. And now we're going to move continually down south along the edge of this riverbank, which in this hex, there are a mixture of different, I don't know how well you can see it on the video, but there's plains, there's a river, there's the edge, the foothills of these mountains, and there's forest. And so how fast would you be able to go? I guess you could take the benefit if you were going to go hunting in that particular region. That'd be nice. But either way, let's do a lead the roll, and he's still hurting for wits, and which means he's got this right here. Here we are. So let's lead the way as we continue into this hex. And he's going to have to push it again. There's no successes, and that one won't freeze because it's a skill dice. So here we go. Okay, Jarren got it. No willpower, no damage to us there. So we were able to lead the way. there. And I think the amount of travel that you can make during, because our characters are on horseback. So we are traveling, that's 1, 2. This would be the second hex that we're traveling through. And I think our horses can get mounted. You can travel 3 hexes per quarter day, as long as you're in open terrain. Difficult terrain would be much less. It would be 1. But because we're on the edge of the river here, and there's plains, there's all these different types of terrains in here, I'm going to go with, we're taking the path of least resistance. So we should be able to travel 1, 2, 3. We should be able to get to this one. All right, during the quarter day. All right, so that's our next one. So well done, Jarren. Come on, let's make it 1 more hex. And we're still here with a little bit of damage to wits. And we succeeded. Don't even have to push on this one. So let's get the worksheet back out and see how far we've made it. All right, 1, 2. We stepped on the wasp nest there. 1, 2, and then 3. So we are here. Now I'll go back after the video's over and highlight these hexes to note that I've been there, that we've been there. And this hex, looking on the big map, 1, 2, 3, is this one. So we're getting closer to the origin of this river, which is kind of neat. I think that might be fun to find. That's going to be in mountainous terrain if we continue southwest. But that's as far as we make it during the quarter day. That's the end of the day. Now it turns to evening. And Radeka is still on watch. I don't want to cheat and let her make camp because she's the best camp maker here by far. But we're going to let's see, now that Jarren is done leading the way, we're all freed up except for Radeka to make camp. And who could that be? Bodlo is not that great at it. Bodlo has 3. That's not bad. And survival. Bodlo's very good at this. Bodlo's going to do it. He's got 2 survival and 3 wits. I don't know why I don't have him up here at make camp. I need to add him. So he's gonna make camp. And we have a large tent. And 3, 2, and the large tent gives us our gear bonus, which is this. And here we go, Bodlo. And we could help here. So this is evening. What about fishing and stuff? Maybe somebody could go fishing. I'm loaded on food. Let's do that. We're along the edge of a river. So Bodlo's going to make camp. Radeka is keeping watch, so they are spoken for. Radeka's being used. Bodlo's being used. So let's let Ushkalla and Jarren go fishing. How about Ushkalla do some fishing and Jarren do the helping? Okay? And she's got... All right, so let's do Bodlo first. Here we go. Make camp. Come on. And we've got it. We don't have to push it or anything. So he's got that. So Radeka, Bodlo are making camp. Ushkalla and Jarren head off to do some fishing. Let's get some food so we don't have to dip into all of our resources. So she's got 3 wits and 1 survival. And we have a fishing net, which gives us 2 gear dice. Now Jarren is helping here. So we get 1 extra red. So the 2 of them head off just a little bit away from the camp being made. All right. And we're going to have to push it already because we don't have a success. I would like to not have a mishap here while we're fishing. So let's freeze the 1 and roll these other ones. Come on. Okay, here we go. Now this is one where you get as many successes as you have. So 2 6s, the rest don't have any play here. So let's go back to Ushkalla. We've got 1 failure and 2 successes, which knocks her wits down by 1. And she's got 2 fish. So that means we could consume those this evening. I always do my consumables during the night quarter day. You could do it any time. It doesn't specify. I just like to keep it consistent, and I always do it at the end of the day instead of at the beginning. So our characters will need to roll for their food and water, except out of the 4 of them, 2 of them won't have to roll for food because she's got the fish. And I think because her and Jarren were the ones fishing, let's just say that they're the ones that don't have to worry about the food. So let's look at the back of, let's get this over here. Ushkalla, her food and water resources are sitting at D12 each. So she does not have to roll a food because she's eating some of the fish, just the fish units that she caught. So here's her water. And I rolled a 2. Wonderful. Of course, we're on the edge of a river, and I suppose you could easily refill and get water if you wanted to. We've done that before. So who is this? This is Jarren, I believe. Yes. So he's also eating some fish. Here's his water roll. 10. So his does not go down. And then this would be Bodlo. He's also at a 12 because we restocked everything. Okay, so that I didn't say, but that his food goes first and his water stays up. Okay. And then Radeka. She's also at D12 on both. So here's food and water. 4 and 3. Hers stay the same. Great. All right. And that is the end of the consumables. I keep up with that at the end of the day. However, don't forget, my random encounter roll, I rolled that 7. So that means at night there's a chance for a random encounter. And I wanted our characters to come across some of the native residents here in the Fangwoods, which in the Game Master's Guide talks about the Wolfkin being here primarily. Now, will that happen tonight? We shall see. So in the Game Master's Guide, let's open that up real quick and look at the random encounters section. And the way I do it, I determine which quarter day that there's a possibility of a random encounter. And we are in 1, 2, 3. We're in a lot of mixture of different terrains. So we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. Let's go white one first to see if there is a random encounter. All right. 56. Of course there is. So 56. Now, what is this? I guess what would fill up this hex the most? 1, 2, 3. This one would qualify as to what type of terrain you're in for a random encounter. And I'm going to go with forest. So 56 on forest is number 24. So this may not have anything to do with wolves. The Cursed Ogre. All right, number 24 is the Cursed Ogre. All right, so a deep guttural voice echoes across the land. Toil and trouble, toil and trouble. The next moment, you see a large and muscular ogre dragging a sack. Something is kicking inside the sack, causing the ogre to bash the sack repeatedly. The movements end immediately. Shut up, you, I said. Okay, so this is one where it happens at night. Now, Radeka has been my keep watch person the whole day. I've kept her off of any other role, and at night, she would be the one keeping watch. However, the house rule we play with is the old school, everybody takes a slight turn keeping guard in the middle of the night. And that's how we'll do it. So a quarter day is 6 hours, give or take. So 2, 4, 6. So I've got 3 people keeping watch. And which one will it be? So let's just go with Radeka, Bodlo, and Ushkalla will be our watchers. And in this order, we'll go Radeka, Bodlo, and Ushkalla. So does it happen in the first 2 hours, the next 2, or the final 2 hours of our 2, 4, 6 of our quarter day? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. 6. So it's Ushkalla is the one that's up and awake while her party is asleep. And this is a house rule. This is a little bit different than the game calls for. So let's see. Let's check out her keep watch stats. And she's also, I believe she's damaged on wits. She is. So she's automatically down 1 dice on ability. And then scouting 1. Oh my goodness. This is her keep watch. So this is, will she notice this is taking place, or will this encounter show up on us very quickly? Here we go. No successes so far. Let's go ahead and push. Okay, good. Okay, she noticed it. All right, so that means, and I don't take any willpower and I don't take any damage to wits. All right, so let's look at this. How would this play out if you're playing at the table? Kurg the ogre is on his way to his lair with his latest captive. Okay, so that tells us a couple of things. There's an ogre lair in the Fangwood Forest. In the sack can be found an unfortunate, now our players don't know this, our characters rather don't know this, Rust Brother Ogre, who has invoked the curse of the god Rust on Kurg. The ogre hasn't yet decided what to do with Ogre, but is considering something fun like practicing stone throwing or ripping his limbs from his body. It all depends on Kurg's mood. So the GM has some leeway here. What's Kurg's mood? Kurg has the typical game stats of an ogre as found on page 61. Okay, so let's look at page 61. And Ushkalla notices this guy because he's not really being quiet, is he? Ogres are tough. They're very tough. Okay, so her companions are asleep. The ogre is walking close enough that she notices them. Now, will she engage? Will she wake up the characters? I think the first thing she's going to do is wake up the other three. She has to at least wake them up because she doesn't want the ogre or the encounter, whether it's a combat or conversation type of encounter, to happen when they're when they're sleeping. So she immediately wakes the other three up. So Jarren, Radeka, Bodlo, they're all awake. Kind of a whisper, kind of a, hey, wake up, we got somebody coming. And then that's when they hear the ogre slamming this sack around, sack containing a person. Shut up, you, I said. Okay. I think we're going to try and stealth by this. I think we're going to let him keep going. So she smothers the fire. If they're a little, there was, but they're in a tent. They'd be in a tent, so they're gonna hush. They're just gonna be quiet. They're gonna let him pass, and hope that he doesn't see. Okay, so that's a stealth roll, and a group stealth. We learned that in the last video. It's the worst, the least stealthy person, and who is that going to be? I'm gonna leave it open there. Radeka, it might be you. Good old-fashioned druids that aren't sneaky. Okay. Bodlo's got 3. And then stealth 0. Jarren's got... He's in the middle of recovering. He's got 1 agility with... So it's going to be him. Because he's taking damage. Because he hasn't finished his rest. So the least stealthy person would be Jarren. And he's only got 1 agility and no stealth skill to add to that. However, we are in a we're not in a dark forest, but we're in a forest at night, light snow, our tent. So I'm going to give us at least 1 gear bonus dice or situational dice for the way that we have our camp set up. All right. You may disagree with that. Hey, we're just playing and having fun. We're going to see if we can get a 6 out of these 2 dice. I mean, what would you do? How would you play it? That's fun to figure out at your own table. That seems fair to me. So everybody says, shh. Here we go. And we're going to have to push. Okay, come on, Jarren. 3. Unbelievable. So Jarren is not having a good day with the dice. Okay, well, at least he didn't take another damage to agility and break him. So the ogre notices our tent. Maybe as everybody wakes up, as Ushkalla is waking them up, Jarren makes a sound or something, or knocks something over, and the ogre notices us. Notices the tent. So, shut up, you, I said. And then right then, he sees us. And we're kind of peering through the door. What happens next? What happens next? Man. So does the ogre keep going? It depends on Kurg's mood. All right, so here's how I would play this if we were playing at a table with other friends. The ogre questions, who are you? What are you doing? And I suppose it would be Ushkalla, since she was the one that was originally on guard here. She claims that they're travelers. We don't want any trouble. And the ogre, he's busy. What's his mood? But he's considering something fun, like practicing stone throwing or ripping his limbs from his body of whoever he's got captured there. And we just see this one single ogre. We're not in the best shape, but we could take him, but it would be a dangerous fight. We don't know who's in the bag. So let's see how lucky we are in regards to the ogre's mood. The higher, the better, the more likely he's just going to keep going on his way, tell us to not get in his way, you better not follow me, or however the dim-witted Kurg proceeds. But the lower I roll is more likely to be abrasive. So let's see. And I rolled a 3. I think that's where I'm going to end the video. So we're going to have to fight this ogre, possibly? Oh, my goodness. Should I end the video here, or should I keep going? My goodness. Shoot. We're at almost 30 minutes. All right. Let's do it. Let's just fight this ogre. Let's go to that page. 61, was it? All right, the ogre gets mad. The ogre is like, okay, I'm tired of people showing up in my area, close to my lair. I don't like this. Okay, so there's the stats. I'm going to do, So we're going to say he's at, our characters are up at the edge of the tent. We see him starting to make his move our direction, and he drops the sack, kicks it, and he's got a large club, a large wooden club, and starts heading our direction. And that's going to be initiative. Okay, let's do it. Let's do some combat. I wasn't planning on an ogre combat on this one. So here we go. Initiative for Ushkalla. She rolled a 3. And we've got initiative for Jarren. He rolled a 4. And Radeka rolled a 5. Not bad. And Bodlo rolled a 2. Hey, here we go. And let's not roll a 1 for the ogre. 3. Can't roll a 3 because we've already got that. I'm simulating drawing cards. I rolled a 5. 6. Okay, there we go. So the ogre goes last. All right, and we're going to say he's at short distance because it's right up on us. Would it be short or near? I'm going to go with near. Yeah, let's go near. Okay, so who's first? Bodlo. Bodlo sits up immediately, grunts his dwarven, you gotta be kidding me, in dwarvish language. Who wakes up Bodlo in the middle of the night? No one. He's all frustrated. He grabs his gear. He's got a battle axe, which is masterwork, a couple of throwing axes. Yeah, he grabs his gear. Now, I'm going to say that because of the conversation, we were able to get our gear and have it in hand and at the ready. So we don't need to pull weapons out, that sort of thing. So he's going to move from near to arm's length and attack. So he's moving as a fast action, and he's going to attack with his masterwork battle axe. All right, so let's look at combat here. His strength is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's the strongest guy in all of our in our entire group. Okay, and let's look at his cards here. He's also an axe fighter. Path of Fate. Yeah, we might use that. Nice. Okay, I am going to use that. Okay, Path of Fate. This is a champion out of the Bitter Reach. You can spend a willpower point to foresee how an opponent will act in the coming round. All of your attack and defense rolls against this opponent get a +1 modification. So we'll go ahead and put that there until it's your turn again in the next round. Activating this talent doesn't count as an action, but it can only be done on your turn in the round. Okay, so all of my attack and defense rolls get a +1. So we're going to do that. Axe Fighter is going to be big. All right, so we use our fast action to get to him, move, and then we are going to swing our big Masterwork Battle Axe. Here we go. 6 strength. Melee is 3. 1, 2, 3. And he's got Axe Fighter at 3. Oh my. You get to add a D8, which is huge. And you get a +1 with every roll, so that's there. Yeah, this is good. Okay, now, his battle axe is a Masterwork Battle Axe, which means that has 4 gear dice. That was the battle axe that Hustab Halfbeard, the famous blacksmith, crafted for him. Okay, here we go. And he spent a willpower point on Path of Fate with the rank 1 feature. So that is a big dice pool right there. So let's go. All right. So he steps up, moves past Ushkalla, and swings at the charging ogre. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. That's going to freeze. That's going to freeze. 4. 5 hits. That is nice. 5 hits. Okay, without looking at stats, I don't know Ogre's stats right off the top of my head. I can't remember armor. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to push because I don't want to damage stuff just yet in the battle. So 5 successes. So let's see what he's going to do. The ogre, let's see. And I should have said that he's going to either parry or dodge. It seems like he would try and parry this because he's not wearing armor. Okay, so he's going to parry this. So let's leave these on the board. So I've got, oops, that was a 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So his parry, he's got 6 strength. So let's get out 6 white dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he's got melee 2. And a large club. Is that a +1 gear dice? I can't remember. It seems like it's 1. It is a +1. After all that, it is a +1. Okay, so here I am. Large wooden club is a +1. He's got 6 strength, and he's got 2 melee, and he's got 1 club. And here is his... He's going to parry that. Now, is his large club... Does he have parrying on that? Heavy and blunt. No, he doesn't. So I forget how that works. Do you get a -2 if you're parrying with a weapon that doesn't happen and he's slashed? Yes, that does make a difference. And I forget. So I'm going to pause here again and find that out. Okay, for a slash, which is what the axe is going to be, he doesn't get a bonus for the parry. As he parries, it's a reactive action, and it requires a shield or a weapon. You get a -2 penalty if it does not have that feature. You get a +2 if you're stabbing, but no bonus on the slash. So here's how that works as a parry. Because it's not a parrying weapon, he has a -2. It removes those 2 red ones. And here's his parry. And he didn't roll any 6s, which means 5 hits get through. Now let's look at the damage. Here we go. This is huge. So the first one that you have a success on is the damage of the weapon. In this case, it's a battle axe, which is damage 2. So 2, and then you just add the rest of them. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the typical ogre's strength is 6. And so Bodlo, who just got woken up by this ogre, is very frustrated and obviously annoyed enough to one-shot this ogre with his awesome battle axe. And I guess I didn't even have to get to it, but the axe fighter rank 2, that feature, you automatically inflict a critical injury if you hit with it. Now, because he's dead, it doesn't matter. And I'm not going to do the broken and how is he broken and what damage did it take. I would have done that had he not killed him to see what happened here, because if we're cutting off arms or we split his skull, it's over anyway. So that's a very deadly talent tree to run up. So anyway, that ends that combat in literally 1 turn. Some good rolls for Bodlo and bad rolls for the ogre. And now what do our characters do with the poor Rust brother that's stuck in the middle of this? Oh my goodness. What page was that? That was number 24, page 158. So yeah, we've got Ogre. We have to talk to this Rust brother who was invoking the curse of the god Rust on this ogre. We just saved his life. Okay, well that's where we're going to end it. What do we do with Ogre? We may have to figure that out in the future. Well, that was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you maybe got to see some stuff in here that's fun. The axe fighter is always a dangerous and deadly one, and Bodlo got to use his fairly new masterwork battle axe. That's fantastic. And we killed an ogre. So we'll check him, loot him, see if he's got anything of value. Probably not, but you never know. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Really enjoy this game. Really have fun with it. And yeah, have a great day, everyone.